Hi everyone, so I just wanted to make a quick video to show you how to write word equations. Quite often what we find is that even though you understand the chemistry behind it, you know what the reactants are and you know what the products are, we quite often end up losing marks simply because we're not laying out the answer the way that we should be. So there's an example on the screen in front of you just now. Now the first thing that I would do when I'm starting out is to try and get an idea of what the reactants are. So by reading the sentence, it says sodium carbonate reacts with sulfuric acid to make sodium sulfate and water. Carbon dioxide is also released in this reaction. So from reading that, I can see that sodium carbonate and sulfuric acid are the reactants in this reaction. And then the products in this reaction are going to be sodium sulfate, water, and also carbon dioxide, which is released in the reaction. So from just reading the sentence, I'm able to differentiate between the reactants and the products. What we then do is we write our word equation in a pretty simple format, and that format is that it is always going to be the reactants on the left, and on the right hand side of our arrow we're going to have our products. What's really important is that we keep this format. We always have our left and our right of that arrow, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make when they're writing it out. So I'm going to show you the right way to write it first, because I think it's important that you see the correct answer, and then I'm going to show you very quickly a wrong way to write it. Okay, so our reactants are sodium carbonate, so we're going to start off with sodium carbonate. Now you can see already my handwriting is quite large and I'm starting to run out of space. So what I would probably do at this point is I would think actually the easiest way for me to do this is for me to write sodium carbonate with the carbonate underneath the sodium. I'm going to put a plus because I've got more than one reactant, and my second reactant is sulfuric acid, and I'm going to do it like that. Now you can see that what I've done is I've left myself loads of space on the right hand side for me to be able to write down my products. So we're going to move to the right hand side now, and we've got 3 products to fit in. Now I still don't have an awful lot of room on that right hand side, even though I've left myself about half a page. Certainly not enough room to write 3 different chemicals. So I'm going to be thinking about the space that I have available to me, and once again I'm going to be doing it so that I leave myself enough room to fit them all in. So I'm going to do sodium sulfate plus water plus, now at this point I don't think I have enough space in here to write carbon dioxide, so I'm actually just going to pop it underneath here, carbon dioxide. Now you can see that that looks a little bit kind of lopsided on the one side, but that's absolutely fine. That is a correct word equation. Okay, so if we're writing that in a test or in an exam of any kind, you're going to be getting the marks that you're due for it. If we have another go at writing it, what I'm seeing a lot of when we're doing these questions is, so I'll go back to the red pen for my reactants. Okay, what I'm seeing a lot of is people just writing it the way that they would normally write it on a page. So we have sodium carbonate plus sulfuric acid. We then have our arrow, and then we switch to a product. We have sodium sulfate plus water plus carbon dioxide. Now that is exactly how you would write a sentence if you were writing it down in English or just writing a paragraph of explanation in chemistry or whatever. That's exactly how you would write it. That's how you've been taught to write it since you were very young. But in chemistry, this is incorrect. Okay, so what's really important is that we understand not only that it is incorrect, but why it's incorrect. And the main reason is this arrow. This arrow should be separating our reactants from our products. Okay, and as you can see on this example here, the sodium carbonate and the sulfuric acid are on the left of the arrow. The first sodium is on the right of the arrow, but then the sulfate, water and carbon dioxide down here, they're on the left hand side of the arrow. Okay, and that is the wrong place for them to be. They need to be over here, like the first example that you've seen there. In order to leave my products on the right hand side. So what I'm going to do, because I know that propanoic acid is two words, I'm going to do propanoic and I'm going to just pop the acid underneath it like that. I can then put in my arrow, and then on the right hand side I can write the names of my products, which are going to be propyl, propanoate, plus water, like that. Okay, making sure that all of my reactants and all of my products are on the correct side. Okay, so I have my reactants on the left hand side of the arrow, and I have my products on the right hand side of the arrow. Okay, I hope that makes some sense. If you've got any problems at all, don't hesitate to ask.